Hi, I'm Mike Miller. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks so much for watching. My guest today is the first person that I've had who has a background in theater, pop, and chamber rock. And Poppy, I'm really honored to have you here today.
Honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for coming down. And it's turned out to be a really nice day today.
Yeah, it's beautiful outside. It was a little chilly this morning, but it's turned out to be lovely.
Do you have some gigs planned for this weekend?
I have some gigs next weekend. We're playing Deep Ellum Arts Festival, and we're going to film the entire concert live at Sons of Herman Hall. There's two sides to that building. There's a ballroom side and then this old bowling alley, because it's this giant venue, and it used to be an actual bowling alley, and they've since turned it into a music hall.
Really?
And it's this beautiful hall, and it's very long, and it has lovely acoustics in this stage. And so we decided for 2016 Deep Ellum Arts Festival to do a live music video shoot of the entire concert. So we're working on props this weekend and getting stuff ready and lights and just some different ways where we can, we have a burlesque dancer coming in from Austin that's going to dance to one of the songs. And so we're really making a kind of a big spectacle of it for the live video shoot, which is next Saturday.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you started off, you have a degree in music from UNT.
I do, yeah. I got my degree, 2009. I got a degree in music from here, from where we are. So.
Yeah. Then you were a teacher for a few years.
I taught public school after that, really geared into working with kids and developing foundational music techniques, which I still think is, something very dear to my heart, and researching and continue to kind of have an interest in how people learn, Yeah.
That's so great that you can have an impact on the community like that, to share your skills and with children so they can carry that forward throughout their lives.
It was wonderful. I loved it. If it wasn't 60 hours a week, I would still do it. But just kind of, I think music is the great equalizer at that early age.
Yeah.
You don't have to know how to read. It doesn't matter if you have like a speech impediment or if you can't do math.
That's right.
It's really all it comes down to is kind of facilitating musical expression, whether it's through dance or improvisation. We would use all the Orff instruments and things like that, and I got all my Orff levels, which focuses heavily on children creating theater and music and singing, but also using these little percussion instruments, little xylophones and glockenspiels. And
they love
anyone
that, I'm
can
sure.
do it.
Yeah,
they could all do it. I taught thousands of kids over those years, and they could all,
just jump right in there and get the feel of it.
And we start, young. They start very early and exploring music, and especially I found a school in a what they call a high risk area, and so I found that school, specifically because if anybody, could use that
needed help,
relief of being able to not have the inhibitions and explore in a safe place, those are the people who need it. So I went there and taught, and it was wonderful. We had an amazing music program, plays and singing. Every grade had a performance every year, and it was a wonderful, wonderful program.
Well, I was reading on your website, you work with musicians, magicians, and and burlesque dancers, as you've mentioned, and just different kinds of bands.
Yeah, I started working recently with Confetti Eddie, and he is a magician, and he has a parlor in Dallas.
Really?
And the shows are wonderful. I am amazed. And he came to one of my shows and found me and said, maybe we should talk about working together. And so I've composed some rags, instrumental rags, for him that I play while he does magic and in between sets to kind of give it that vaudeville live music.
Yeah, that's great that y'all are keeping that alive, and that's like Scott Joplin type feel. Or...
It does. It has a lot of Scott Joplin feel, and then for some of his illusions, it might change to something completely different, but definitely in between acts. And for some of his old school, you know, they do like the dancing cane acts and things like that. Well, we use a lot of the old ragtime, and
that's great.
Yeah, and then the dancers come in, and you know, we're having it. Bethany Summersizzle from Austin's going to come in and do a routine to my song, which is "Snake in the Grass" off my first album, and it's very kind of a saucy song. So she's going to dance to that, and it's been a really great community to get into, the cabaret burlesque community, and I'm just starting to step into that, but that need for live kind of, you know, almost like period piece music, you know, in a way.
Carries forth a lot of history and tradition.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it adds to the authenticity, but also with some modern flash to it, you know.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so that's been excellent. I'm really looking forward to pursuing some of that stuff this summer. We're going to go to St. Louis and play, and hopefully work with some more road shows and things like that. So definitely something I'm enjoying.
As a kid, you liked Beethoven and Debussy and Chopin.
That is.
You're kind of, to me, your playing sounds like Billy Joel. Did you like him?
You know, I did. I like Billy Joel and Elton John, and but there's something about playing the classical music that, you know, I mean, that's what you study.
Yeah. And
you start to realize, I mean, it is drama. You know, it's big, dramatic, romantic, seductive, painful, sad. I mean, all of it's there, and the, you know, the Chopin. You know, I know people that won't even listen to his nocturnes because they're just so
emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's the music that I've studied. I didn't realize probably for a number of years until high school that I could even play other types of music. I listened to many types of music, but I played, you know, very much strictly classical music.
Did you like the piano parts of like the Rolling Stones songs, Nicky Hopkins and those people?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Led Zeppelin. You know.
John Paul Jones.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, his work has really inspired me as far as.
Really?
Yeah. You know, using some of those classic keyboard sounds. You know, I play that SV1, and I'm able to get some similar kind of sounds to like No Quarter and things like that were hugely influential on my, you know, younger formative years. Because that rocks, you know.
It does. It really grabs a hold of you,
Yeah, and so that's kind of almost in the gear we're moving is combining. And, you know, those guys have a lot of classical. John Paul Jones, you know, has, you know, is a choral master, you know, and he does so much with classical composing. And, you know, so he's one of those people that was able to wrap the virtuosity and help form it into, you know, the classic.
Put it into blues rock.
Into the rock. Well, it wasn't classic rock at the time, but put it, you know, and they're all virtuosos, you know, and that's kind of where we're trying to go. You know, I have Charla, my violin player. I mean, amazing. I don't know. She comes from the opposite side of the planet as far as music. She approaches it completely differently than I do, and
that's great.
But you can play something, and she immediately can, you know, interpret it and play it without music and notes, and she just has, you know, she's got the ears. You
that's
know.
Great.
And you know, Jesse Thompson is playing on our electric bass now, and he, you know, I mean, again,
he's an amazing musician.
He's a, you know, banjo player, upright bass, guitar, vocalist, and I get the luxury of having him as my electric bass player, which we can have bass solos. I mean, you know, those bass solos you hear, again, John Paul Jones is one of those people who's like, those bass solos, you know, where are they?
People
you
enjoy
know,
that.
yeah.
People really get into that. Yeah.
And you know, so he does some incredible things in our live shows. And you know, moving into that direction, almost like in that Vanilla Fudge kind of direction, where it's just heavy organ, heavy bass. We have more harmonies we've been working on. Everybody's singing, so we're all going to be singing, you know, harmonies and additional. And these musicians, you know, and Chelsea Danielle, I mean, she just kills that drum set. It's just huge sound that she's able to get. So all of that is become this next, probably this next album that we're going to be working on over the next couple of years that has almost that vintage 70s sound combined with
I look forward to that.
The virtuosity of, you know, our studies for the last, you know, I mean, we've all been playing for probably over 20 years. So, you know, it's like, so, you know, there will be no just simple pop tunes on there, I don't think. You know, it'll be a little bit more theatrical and, you know, heavy music. So. Well,
you do work hard, and I'm impressed with your albums here. This is your first album, 2014.
2014, yes.
11 songs, and this is all just you.
That is just me. I recorded it at Palmyra Studios, and happened to meet up with a guy who actually lives at my house now, and he recorded the album at Palmyra, and so we still work together doing recordings, and our house is becoming more of like a studio now. It's really kind of changing. So that was completely solo. I had gone on I quit my job at the public school to kind of do some soul searching in a way, to have time. And I was on this long road trip, and that's where I kind of wrote a lot of the music that's on that album.
Yeah, Snake in the Grass.
Yeah, Snake in the Grass. Blackwater, I wrote at a cemetery while I was out in Tennessee that I went to. Yeah, I found an African-American burial ground, and a slave burial ground, really.
Oh, really?
And it was just, you know, way off the beaten path, and I went out there, and it had a huge impact. You know, that part of American history, so devastating, but so powerful. And, you know, to remember that, you know, I spent a lot of time working on some of that material and some more that I've been working on from that experience. But that kind of spurred on the entire solo project, you know, was just being out for those 6 weeks, making it to the East Coast on a road trip from here by myself to Virginia, hiking some of the Appalachian and things. You know, that brought on that first album.
And then you just went right to work with a full band on this album?
Yeah, just went right to work. You know, the musicians, Charla showed up at a coffee shop where I was and hopped on stage, hadn't even met her, didn't know who she was. She started playing with me, so that was that. So we, you know, that was, I guess, about a year and a half ago. And then, you know, everybody else just kind of came together. Craig Sheffield was a friend of mine from UNT.
Drums.
I'd worked with several times, and he did the percussion for the album. Before he moved to Taiwan, which is where he's at now, teaching English and working on music out there.
And Betty Lee on flute.
Betty Lee on flute, amazing. We went to UNT together. And then Jeff Murder was one of my people. He's my tuba player on the album, bass player as well. And he and I met teaching public school together.
Oh, really?
And started, you know, kind of playing music and working on things, you know, from there. So he ended up playing with me for quite a while before he just moved out to LA and started doing an educational position at the Corporate Guitar Center out there. So that's amazing too.
Yeah,
you know,
that
so
is.
It's amazing how watching, you know, we all just develop and keep doing new stuff and, you know, network, and people go out and, you know, so yeah.
And I really appreciate you coming down today, and I don't want to leave too little amount of time for you to play. And so you guys stay tuned and check out Poppy Xander playing some music for you, and Google her and check her out in the future. Thanks for watching.
So this song that I'm going to play first is called Slender Man, at least for now, and we are working on a horror suite album that should be coming out in this in 2016. And this is one of the tracks I've been working on for that. That is brand new. And it's in F minor for anybody following along. Here we go.
There were two girls with lovely curves, they locked the door at night. Pinching, praying, moral slaying, tried to find the light. And in the darkest hours, they purged their sins to flight, begging for forgiveness in the darkest of the night. Forgive us, forgive us. Devils read and goblins fled, they studied the divine. Books they read and cuts they made to show their sacrifice. And in the brightest hours, they longed for the moonlight, reaching out to others, also in their plight. Screaming, burning. And then they heard a voice in the night, calling out to them in the autumn full moonlight, telling them the only way was human sacrifice. Entrance to the kingdom fell on this sacred rite. Forgive us, forgive us. This track is written kind of as it's almost like a gay anthem. It's for those people who are feeling lost and alone. But there's hope. It's called Lost Boy. It's off of my first album, Snake in the Grass. Lost boy, where did they let you go? Did they know you'd be in danger? Was it better than the rest? little star, you shot too far. Went to the head of the table, how the tables have turned. No chair did they leave for you. The record doesn't spin unless the needle has just enough skin. It's too much weight. You can get out now without a sound. Oh, don't you know you're beautiful, lying high on the table? We will feast upon your flesh, and you'll be left with stranded bones. This song is about being immortal. It's called Keep It Together. You can listen to the full band version on our album Little Ghosts, but playing it solo is, it's one of my favorite songs to play. It's very personal. There was a time when I said too much. Words bubbled over, 'cause nearly not enough. And welling up from inside my throat, they strangled me till I choked, leaving me there with a sinister stare. My jaw, they almost broke, and I cried. Keep it together, keep it together, keep it together. There was a time when I could not get enough, a time when more was never a bluff. Wrapped up in red on a rolling bed, my reflection in the knife, cutting the strings that attached me to things, and nearly pulled the plug, and I cried. Keep it together, 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 keep it together. There was a time when I heard the knock. The white rider on his horse unveiled his rod, and I felt the chill right through to my bones. He reached out his hand, but I grabbed tight to the rope. Keep it together, 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 together. Oh. There was a time when I saw the light. Eternal rest was nearly in sight. From out of the darkness it shone like a fire in the night. Only then did I realize I'd simply come back to life. Hopes and dreams come crashing back to never enough. Doomed for all eternity, death merely a bluff, and I'd live on forever, 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 live on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever, live on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Oh.
And they tell me, follow your dreams. And they say,